I thought it would split fan base, which I kind of perversely like doing. I was like, yeah, the last lot was shit. Wait till you hear this. The video sent a lot of geezers in bucket hats into a bit of a tailspin, which is always an added bonus. It's nothing quite like a load of teenage boys crying to Champagne Supernova. I wouldn't cook for anyone else for fear of poisoning them, except maybe one or two family members.
Let's talk about your new album. So,
Yes.
Council Skies, which is out now. When did you write it, and what was your inspiration mainly?
The song itself is about trying to find, because it's got like a bossa nova beat. I think the germ of the idea came in Ibiza, which is why it sounds like that. I guess if the song's about anything, it's about trying to find young love on a council estate, something which I could speak with quite a bit of authority.
One of your favourites on the album is Dead to the World.
Oh yeah, I love that song.
Why do you like that one so much?
It's quite personal to me, and it's a very atmospheric and moody, and I don't know. I think it's a song I'll never get bored of listening to. You know, it's got these majestic strings that recorded in Abbey Road, and I'm not. You know, why are songs people's favourite songs? I don't know whether it's the best song I've ever written but it kind of moves me, so that's why I like it. Yeah.
Pretty Boy.
Yes.
So tell us about Pretty Boy.
It sounds quite wrote and 80s, but I wrote it on an acoustic guitar. It was the first thing I wrote and finished for the record, and as it kind of went on and I was putting layers upon layers of stuff on it, it started to sound like The Cure. And I'm a Cure fan, which people are horrified by. People think that if you're a Cure fan, you've got to wear lipstick. And I've always been a huge admirer of Robert's tunes. And I had this crazy idea one night. I was like, I wonder if Robert Smith does remixes. And of course, in the music business, you're only kind of 2 steps away from somebody who knows somebody. And I ended up getting his email and emailing him and thinking, when I sent it, I was thinking, he's looking at that now and going, "My geezer from Oasis." Really? I'm getting involved with this idiot. Anyway, he emailed back and he was like, "Oh, send me the track," and kind of sent it to him, and if I thought it sounded like The Cure before I give it him, it sounded exactly like The Cure when it came back. And it never dawned on me until afterwards that when Robert had remixed it, that on that remix is like members of The Cure, one of the Smiths, and one of Oasis, and it was like, wow, that's amazing. I put it out first because I thought it would split fan base again, which I kind of perversely like doing. I was like, yeah, the last lot was shit. Wait till you hear this.
What, do you just like being contrary, or what?
Well,
why?
no. Look, I think it's a great tune, so I wouldn't do it for the sake of just annoying people. But I did think, okay, this is gonna be. I like to engage with the audience, so I like to keep them on the toes anyway, because it would have been easy to put out Easy Now or something like that sounds a bit Oasis-y, or Council Skies, which is sounds what High Flying Birds have become. And I like to keep people on their toes, and the reaction of it was really, really interesting. And but it will be a live classic for years to come. But I love the song. I love it. And the video sent a lot of geezers in bucket hats into a bit of a tailspin, which is always an added bonus.
Now, you recently talked about David Bowie giving you advice on a couple of emails in the past. It was basically along the lines of keep writing, keep going.
Yeah.
Do you mentor anybody? Do you give anybody advice?
If people ask, I mean, my advice to people in bands or songwriters is very simple. It's like you have to be in it for the right. If you're in it to make it, forget it, because it's such a rarity that you actually get to make it. But be into it for the right reasons, and if success comes along, then great. If it doesn't, still just keep at it.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful thing to be able to do, is to play an instrument and write songs. It's such a privilege, I think.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that is good advice. If you're passionate about it,
thank you.
Then can keep going. Basically.
Or alternately, keep buying my records.
Okay, great advice from you there, Noel. So after the American dates, you're back in the UK, and you've got quite a lot lined up in July and September.
Yeah.
And then more in December as well. You've got one in Manchester.
Yes.
You're looking forward to that in particular?
Yeah, Wythenshawe Park. First time there's ever been a gig in Wythenshawe Park, and it's going to be my first British gig promoting an album called Council Skies in the middle of the biggest council estate in Europe, which is quite a brilliant sense of symmetry. And I can't wait to get, because as great as the American gigs are, it gives the band a chance to play in. And by the time we get back to England after 6 weeks, we'll be flying, and then those big gigs will be amazing. Yeah, there's, the spectacle. There's nothing quite like a load of very white teenage boys with their tops off crying to Champagne Supernova.
Yeah.
It's quite the thing.
It must be amazing from your point of view, just looking out the crowd.
Well, no, it's a great. I mean, I kind of taking the mickey a little bit, but it is a great privilege, that you can still move future generations and that. Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Are you excited about the fact that you do reach new generations?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's always fascinated me that a band that was so of its time as so Oasis is 30 years old next year, or definitely maybe is, and it's still, there's people that come to my gigs when I'm playing songs from that era who were not even born, and it's kind of, they've got it from their big brother who got it from their uncle, something like that. So it's an amazing thing. It's a real privilege as a songwriter. So you did something that was timeless and classic, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't try and convince somebody of my genius. And
I got a question from a Twitter follower, Amanda. What's the first thing you do when you get home after playing a gig overseas?
Well, I'm one of those people, the first thing that I do is unpack. I can't have suitcases lying around for
So even if you get in the middle of the night?
In the middle, maybe not in the middle of the night, but if I've got time to unpack, I'll unpack. All the dirty clothes will go in the wash, and then it's a very northern thing, but just make a cup of tea. Yorkshire tea, 1 sugar.
And milk.
Sit down, peace and quiet. Where's the cat? Get rid of it.
You don't like the cat?
Well, thankfully I don't have to live with him anymore, but he was quite a vocal, lovely cat. Lovely cat, but he's quite a vocal cat.
Oh, really?
Which was kind of, you'd be looking at him going, I can't help you, mate. I don't know what are you talking about. But
do you connect better with dogs then, or?
No, I loathe dogs.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're too needy. Like, they stare at you.
What, the cats or the dogs here?
The dogs, and they want to be your mate, and it's just like, I don't want to be your mate. Look, I've got too much going on. I'm sorry. You can do whatever you want with that tennis ball. I'm not throwing it anywhere for you.
Oh.
I'm not a pet person. Even goldfish annoy me.
Even goldfish annoy you?
Swing round and 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 round. And it's like, you could put muesli in a goldfish bowl and they still eat it.
Yeah? They're easily pleased?
Idiots.
Now, very important question. This is a personal one for me. Are you pro or anti salted caramel?
Oh, pro. Very much pro.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to have to disagree here.
Why? I don't know.
I think it's taken over the world.
It's not something I haven't got a load of it in the fridge. I'm more of an ice lolly man myself.
Are you?
There's these ice lollies that my kids got me. Well, I say they got me into it. I steal it from them. They're called Knobbly Bobblies, and you can get them in Waitrose, and they are magnificent. But salted caramel, it's interesting. It was invented like in the 50s.
Well, there's always been caramel, hasn't there? But it's since they've added salt, it's become a thing.
In it?
I know. It's disgusting. It's taken over the menus. It's everywhere.
Well, I mean, it's understandable. It is quite nice.
Now I've mentioned it, I bet you'll see it everywhere.
I mean, it is a thing. I don't tend to get stuck on the ice cream. I always find that stretch of the supermarket a bit too cold for me. Do you know what I mean? I kind of want them. I'm shivering when I get halfway down it. I'm like, I don't know about that. But
you avoid that whole section, do you?
I try to. The frozen food section, it's not for me. No good can come of it.
I can't imagine you down the frozen food section.
Yorkshire puddings, what's that all about?
Yeah. You've got to make it from scratch, haven't you?
Who's Aunt Bessie?
Do you do the cooking yourself, or?
Well, right. I wouldn't go as far. I could survive with a pantry full of food and a cooker. Am I a good cook? I wouldn't cook for. Actually, here's how I'd sum it up. I wouldn't cook for anyone else for fear of poisoning them,
Okay.
except maybe 1 or 2 family members.
You can risk it with.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to the kitchen, do you have a kettle or a hot tap?
Oh, hot taps are evil.
Thank you. We agree
Nonsense.
on that.
There's always that funny bit of they're not. Boil a kettle. What's up with you? It takes what? 3 minutes?
Yeah, it's part of the process, isn't it? Boiling the kettle, having a chat while you're doing it.
I do miss the whistling kettle as well. But yeah, boil a kettle. But the hot tap is. No, it's completely wrong.
Yep.
It's completely wrong.
And it's not hot enough. It's 98 degrees. It's not
You
100.
get them taps now that fizzy water come out of them.
Yeah.
That's like, I mean, no, that's people with too much money that buy that kind of thing. It is. Boil
Okay.
a kettle. Get a
no.
lime scale in it. That's what you want. A bit of lime scale in the
Yeah,
brew.
adds to the flavour.
Of course it does.